The universe is so large and limitless that knowing everything about it is impossible. It's full of breathtaking places and never ceases to astonish us. But in addition to this beauty, there may or may not be something frightening out there. Aliens have been perennial favorites in many sci-fi movies and novels. In this video, we will talk about 5 disturbing and unsettling possibilities regarding aliens that might change your view of the universe. Number 5. We are alone in the universe. Arthur Clarke said we are either alone in this universe or we are not, and both these thoughts are equally scary. The one thing that we don't talk much about is the possibility that we might actually be alone in the entire universe. The odds are stacked against this. Our universe is filled with billions of galaxies, each with 200 billion stars in it, the great majority of which are potentially habitable. Stars like our Sun are the most common in our universe, and this is the case only for our observable universe. There could be many more beyond it, so chances are we're not alone. This results in a reality that is quite different from what we see now. Earth would then violate the Copernican principle, becoming the most important and privileged location in the entire universe. We would then be the highest expression of life in the universe, and indeed would represent the universe perceiving and trying to understand itself. This is not the same as being a chance for extraterrestrial civilization among countless others. This would be the principle of uniqueness in a universe that despises a one-off. In science, you always expect further examples, because asteroids are not unique, but rather a part of a population. This also applies to civilizations. They can be uncommon or frequent, for sure, but the concept of just one ever really pushes plausibility to the point that one naturally asks if it was purposeful at that time. Number 4. We live in a universe of machines. Our species has undergone evolution through the past thousands of years. A person 20,000 years ago was considerably different from us in many respects. And it's not just our technology that distinguishes us, it's also our collective beliefs, such as education, reading, and so on, which have all changed how we think and behave in comparison to a time when none of it existed. But it is our current technology that stands out the most. Who would have imagined that the human race would addict itself to an artificial brain, the cell phone? What was once a technique of communicating through wires has evolved into a wealth of knowledge at your fingertips, rapid connection via many channels, and entertainment. And this pattern appears to be continuing. Over the next few decades, medical research will increasingly focus on the direct incorporation of technology into the human body. We will see brain-machine interfaces like Neuralink and even better versions of them, and also be able to create artificial organs. Or how about nanotechnological weight loss, where one doesn't need to do a thing and the weight just melts away? We already have artificial limbs for those who need it. In the future, we might be at a point where we transition to become neuron by neuron, gradually over time, a machine ourselves. Imagine being biologically born just to die as a machine. But only if death genuinely occurs in machines. In that world, anything that can be broken can be repaired and brought back to life, or backup copies can be created for a sort of indefinite existence. You may be gone, but your memories and everything that made you who you are remain preserved and may be accessed at any time. However, some data may have been lost. Digital immortality is something scientists are already working on today. This results in a world in which the progress of natural intelligence leads to the advent of machine intelligence. If this is the natural order of things, machine civilizations may substantially outnumber biological civilizations. Those machine civilizations may end up generating subsequent enhanced incarnations of themselves, implying that machine descends from machine and evolution manifests itself in a new, controlled form disguised as advancing technology. So I ask you, all of this would indicate an initial biological civilization igniting the entire thing. But what if we discovered a society with no proof of that? Rather, its lineage looks to have been machines all the way down. Number 3. Dangerous viruses have a potential to wipe out all population on Earth. While this topic has been a center for many sci-fi movies and novels and also has a separate branch of science, astrovirology, dedicated to it. Life on Earth developed with its viruses. Viruses have been there from the beginning of time, and it's plausible to infer that this is the natural order. Viruses are present everywhere there is life. Earth's viruses, on the other hand, are exceedingly specialized, and they must not just assault cells, but the appropriate kind under the right chemical circumstances. While some viruses on Earth can jump species, it only happens in very specific circumstances. If you sneeze on a crocodile, it is unlikely to become ill. However, there is some debate about whether viruses can generalize under the right conditions. Most scientists do not believe this is the case, but it has been proposed that on a dying globe like Mars at the time it began drying up, members of the microbial ecosystem would have been adapting or become extinct on a massive scale during that era if it had life. That might have pushed the viruses that preyed on them to become more generic, allowing them to target any cell they came across. This opens the door for dead worlds to be infected with viruses capable of attacking explorers and thwarting any attempt at colonization, as well as increasing the possibility of returning explorers infecting Earth with a virus capable of wiping out most, if not all, life on the planet. Even though the scary possibility is somewhat unlikely, as planets are always being hit by meteorites coming from other planets. We would see such a thing in Mars meteorites, and we don't, and indeed probably we wouldn't be here if that were the case. But what if we haven't explored enough? What if any other planet has it? What if we have just been lucky? Number 2. Aliens seeded Earth with life. The origins of life on Earth are obscure. It is unclear how a non-living chemical process may grow into life. While it is plausible that we will someday comprehend this process, and by extension, know if it is a simple thing that must occur everywhere in the universe, or if it is an extremely uncommon combination of circumstances that can only occur very rarely. However, it has been proposed that because it is such a rare occurrence, some process must spread life throughout the universe. This is known as interstellar panspermia, in which rocks can travel for millennia carrying latent life and then seed it wherever they chance to fall. However, it is doubtful that life could survive long enough to travel intergalactic distances. However, it is possible if it is artificially kept and safeguarded by an extraterrestrial civilization. This might happen in 2 ways, intentionally or unintentionally. The unintended approach would be if an extraterrestrial culture visited early Earth and inadvertently contaminated it with its microorganisms, which are now our microbes. They may have been traveling through and looked around for a fascinating planet that may have life developing on it, but discovered that it did not, but in the process accidentally put life on it that would later evolve into a civilization that enjoys mobile phones and donuts. The second possibility is that they did it on purpose, seeing some benefit or urgency in spreading life wherever it might find a footing. This is more like gardening, where you plant beans where there aren't any, and presto, you have beans. They may plant the seed and check in on it from time to time until it develops into a civilization, and they establish appropriate contact, and intelligence so fills the cosmos. Or they may have been extinct over such a long period of time, and the life they leave behind is their legacy. This leads to an unusual choice inside SETI. A civilization of this kind may have encoded a message in the DNA of every species on Earth. Finding such an artificial marker inside DNA is difficult, but it is possible. DNA is an extraordinarily sophisticated and comprehensive data storage system. Thus, finding such an abnormal identifier within it is difficult, but it is possible. Perhaps the proof of life out there existed all along within us. Number 1. The alien simulation scenario. A long-standing philosophical dilemma has been whether we live in a simulation rather than an actual reality. Movies like The Matrix displays this perfectly. This has lately acquired prominence in the form of simulation theory, the most known example being the concept of ancestor simulation. This is where a civilization develops a simulation of its own history, probably to observe what the cosmos was like in the distant past. Perhaps they wanted to know what it was like to be totally human again. Or perhaps they wanted to try to rebuild missing elements of their own past. Some theories even go so far as to suggest that the universe is almost probably a simulation of this sort, but I believe that's pushing it a bit. However, there is one disquieting aspect of the simulation theory concept. If such a world is allowed to flourish, it will create not just the civilization in issue, but others as a result. It would be one relevant civilization and a slew of additional redundant ones that the simulators may be unaware of, but may theoretically arise. Perhaps this is how they research extraterrestrial cultures. However, this may also explain the Great Silence, in that the simulators simply create one civilization and no others are permitted to exist due to ethical considerations. But if that's not the case, and civilizations may form on more than one planet, as the apparent expanse of the cosmos would suggest, we could be an accidental result living in an alien civilization's ancestral simulation. Whether these possibilities are correct or not, only the future will tell, but they all are equally convincing. So what do you guys think about these unsettling possibilities? Which one is the most convincing for you? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Also, make sure to like our video and subscribe to our channel, as it encourages us to keep making amazing videos like this for you. Thanks.